Yo, So Sick Nash fan back, and today we have a choose your main video. Now, Samurai Showdown is a fun, exciting, and explosive game. This game is all about neutral and decision making. Now, I know what you're gonna ask. You're gonna say, Nash, ain't every fighting game like that? Well, not to this degree, because a match in Samurai Showdown can be 5 seconds or it can be a time over. So this game can literally end in a heartbeat because of the unique mechanics of the game. Now today I want to show y'all what every character has to offer, and hopefully you can pick a main today. So first we're going to start talking about Haohmaru. Now Haohmaru is a very well-rounded character. I would consider him like the Shodo of the game. He's just can do it all. He has an uppercut, he has a fireball. Like he has all of these like usual tools that you would see in like a Shodo that can just control the match and control the pacing of the match. He has very good pokes. All of his A normals are good, B normals are like really good. Super strong C normal. The traditional Haohmaru normal, and then he has pretty good running attacks as well. Yeah, punch has been nerfed, but it is still a solid poke. 6-6B is super good because it just goes directly into a lot of damage. 6-6C is good for anti-air purposes. If somebody does jump at you, you can anti-air them with that, or you can run under and do the same thing. 6-6D is not that strong on Haohmaru as other characters. So when it comes down to just the pacing of the match, he's gonna be able to control that simply with his light fireball and just running behind it and seeing how the opponent reacts. He does have a feint, so you can feint somebody, and if they jump, just jump. So very strong in that regard to just make the opponent make mistakes and punish them severely for making mistakes, because his damage output is high. Even off of like a throw, he does very solid damage. So he can keep your opponent in check on the screen at all ranges, especially because he does have a fierce projectile to put you in full animation. Heavy on the recovery side, but an option. And if your opponent opts to start shooting projectiles at you, he also has a projectile reflect. So as you see, this man is neutral the game. So if you're looking for just a well-rounded character that can do it all, Haohmaru is going to be the pick for you. Nakoruru, this character is going to be your hit and run style character. She can fight at both ranges, either A, from the back of the screen, where her Mamaha hits at this unique angle, or she can fight up close because she has a lot of tools up close where she can open you up, whether it be throw, whether it be her 6-6D meaty low. It's like really good. She has a very good 6D because it hits super meaty and will hit somebody for trying to hold up on wake up. So she has a lot of unique ways to hit the opponent for trying to like hold up, and then when they sit there you throw them. She has one of the best 6-6As in the game. It is a 4-frame normal that immediately goes into a special move and can whip punish. So she's very good at getting in. Like if you whip something, like if somebody whips something right in your face, you just run in, do a combo, knock them down, and then have them get strike throw. So it's like super powerful. On top of, she can Mamaha clean and come off of the Mamaha clean with a fate and just rethrow you into damage, or she can go Mamaha clean and then dive on top of you. So like let's say somebody shoots a projectile at you. If somebody shoots a projectile at you, you Mamaha clean and then you can just hit them in recovery. So it's like really powerful. On top of this can be an overhead into a dive, which is super powerful. So she just has a lot of ways to like get in and get out like with precision. On top of like this special move is a low, so your opponent definitely has to be blocking that low. She doesn't really have the best normals, especially like distance wise. She has like no range, but good thing about her is like if somebody does jump at you, she does have a traditional crouching C, which is very powerful. So I would say if you're looking for a character that can just get in, get out, and stay on top of the opponent, this is going to be the character for you. And uniquely enough, this character also comes with a reflect as well. Yashamaru is a character that has so much mobility on his side that it's going to make it really hard for your opponent to calculate when and where you are on the screen, because at any moment he could just do one jump and land on you, or he can double jump and try to bait you out on the ground, come down, hit you, and get a lot of damage. So he's gonna always be making you guess at neutral where he is on the screen and what options he's gonna pick in the air, because he also has a sword toss out of the air that if you get used to like trying to uppercut, or you get used to trying to hit him with like a crouch C or something, he can always bait you out. So he's very annoying in the regard of air control, because his air control is like really good, and his air normals are really good as well if somebody jumps up with him. So super strong, and even on the ground he's even stronger because his far B, one of the best normals in the game, honestly. The reach on it is insane. It doesn't lead to a whole lot of damage, but 100 is solid because that adds up, especially when somebody's just constantly chasing you. He also has an anti-air. If somebody is jumping at him, he can close stand C. If you do it right, it is a proxy normal, so you have to be very careful that you actually get close stand C, because it can still trade if you do not do it right. So depending on the character that you're fighting and like their jumping attacks is gonna be dependent on if you're gonna want to use that as a close normal, but you could always just run under and anti-air as well. So he doesn't have many special moves or many combos in general. He's just kind of like straightforward, straight to the point. But he has some very, very good normals that he can work with, especially with his far C. If you catch a really good whiff punish, he can do a lot of damage. So I would say Yasha is just one of those type of characters that's just good at running in, running out, getting damage, forcing the opponent to chase him, and having so much mobility that you basically fluster your opponent into a L. Galford is going to be your zoning slash set play character. Now, he has set play elements. He's not like a full set play character like in traditional fighting games where you just get knocked down and you just die. But he's going to have some set play elements with Poppy. Now, his zoning is very good because he can cancel his backdash into projectile, and it's a very slow projectile, so after it hits the opponent you can kind of like run in and assess the situation. If it's blocked, it's not that bad, and then on top of it he can call Poppy and then shoot a projectile, which is going to be like the core of his game plan, because while JD does exist, it really doesn't matter against Galford because his whole game plan is to get straight hits with Poppy or a straight hit with a projectile, and then call Poppy on your wake up and make you basically guess the situation, because he's gonna have a headbutt, he's going to have Poppy to bite you, and he can combo off of that into massive amount of damage, or he can make Poppy come out of the air, which is not an overhead, but it creates a situation where your opponent has to block. So I call Poppy, I run in, and then your opponent's blocking, and I command grab you with the Azuna drop. So he does come with a command grab also, so he's very good at kind of like just keeping you on the ground, and then when you are blocking, boom, he just sneaks in that command grab. Very fast character, his run is fast, so he'll run under you, get to the other side, 668, stuff like that. So that is basically the basis of Galford. You're just really going to be running, plasma blading, hopefully one hits. If one doesn't hit, you still have Poppy. Throw another plasma blade, see what happens, and if you do get that hit, boom, they're knocked down, and now you just call Poppy on their wake up. Poppy keeps knocking them down. If he grabs them, boom, get a lot of damage. So definitely like a set play zoner. So if you're looking for a character that can kind of just run away and play super annoying at neutral, make your opponent make mistakes, but then when you do get that knockdown, you have an option to summon like almost like an assist and get some offense going, Galford is definitely going to be the pick for you. Ukyo, let's go ahead and get it out the way. This is a character you are not going to be jumping a whole bunch with because he has one of the floatiest jumps in the entire game. So most of your game is going to revolve on the ground, which he can play a very good ground game, and he has a lot of mix-ups. Now, he does have a pretty good slide that hits at a pretty good range to keep your opponent guessing where they need to be blocking low to block that slide. So you're not going to really see your opponent walking back and forth against him because slide can hit you at any moment. Now, the core of Ukyo's game plan is the Tsubama overhead or the sweeping low, and that is how he's gonna keep you guessing majority of the time. He's gonna hit you with a combo, boom, 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 boom. You guess wrong, you get hit by overhead. Same concept, boom, boom, boom. You guess wrong, you get hit by a meaty low. And that is how Ukyo is 1000% played. Once your opponent starts sitting there and just blocking and waiting on you to mix them, he throws. And then he gets his damage off a throw. So Ukyo is one of those characters that he can beat anybody. I mean, the 50-50 is not reactable, so you always have to guess. Now, what I will say is the risk reward is definitely in the opponent's favor, depending on the matchup, especially, and how much damage they'll get if they block the overhead, because the overhead is unsafe. So let me make her stand up. That overhead is heavily unsafe, so a character like Shiki is going to output a good amount of damage if she blocks that, versus if she blocks the low, same thing, the low is also unsafe. The low has to be done meaty to even be safe, so his mix-ups are definitely a risk. He gets a little more reward in rage because if the overhead hits you, it does a lot of damage, but he's just a 50-50 based character. He also does come with a projectile reflect. This will, backdash Tsubama, will actually send projectiles back. So he doesn't get zoned at all, but his whole core of game plan is just to knock you down and keep mixing you and keeping you like guessing. And his far B is very good at just getting that neutral hit and starting your offense. So I would say if you're looking for like a mix-up character that has some like solid footsie tools, Ukyo is definitely going to be a great choice. Kyoshiro is a character that's not really heavily used. He definitely has a lot of weaknesses, but he also has some pretty good strengths. Now, the thing about Kyoshiro, when he crouch blocks, he actually crouch walks back, which you would think could be good, but it's also a negative because he's giving up a lot of space just trying to crouch block. So if I put Yoshi to crouch block, you know, he's stationary. You put Kyo to crouch block and he walks back. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing because he does low profile some things because you see his hitbox is really low, but he's giving up a lot of space. So if nothing is happening, he's just walking back. And that could be cornering yourself. So that's never a good thing. However, Kyo has very good normals. That is where he shines. He has very, very, very good pokes. And good pokes can win you a match. While they are like, you know, susceptible to deflect, especially his far B, he has the option to do nothing and then you deflect and then he hits you with his far B. His crouch B is a low and it goes really, really far. So I would say his footsie game is very, very good. His far C goes a long distance as well and does a lot of damage. And he has one of the best crouch C's in the game. So if somebody were to jump at you, you could just crouch C them and control that neutral. He also comes with a DP. His heavy DP is pretty bad only because when you hit it, he's very unsafe afterwards. And he does come with a floaty jump as well. So one of the best things to do with him is either crouch C or like do a lighter version of uppercut, like a medium uppercut. That way you actually recover. His projectile is decent at best. It's not the best. It's okay. Generally, your opponent is going to JD you. So that's really not how you're going to get all your wins with Kyo. The basis of him, I'm not going to lie, is he's just a footsie character. He just like hits you with buttons, gets you annoyed, you jump at him, and then he just crouch sees you. And that's literally how you play the character. It's nothing more, nothing less. The thing about him is because this is the core of his playstyle, this can get overshadowed by other characters that can also press good normals and do a lot more damage than Kyo. So if you're looking for just kind of like a long range poke annoying character, then Kyoshiro will definitely be the character for you. If you are looking for a character that controls the mid range at will, you are looking at the right character. Jubei has one of the best far Bs in the game and crouch Bs because both are cancelable and go into a lot of damage. And you know what that means? That means if your opponent ever whiffs in your face, then you can immediately just whiff punish them with a lot of damage, and that's always good in any fighting game. So 270 just off of a solid whip punish is good because a lot of characters in this game, far B, are not like special cancelable, but the fact that his is, he gets rewarded like heavily at the mid range. He does come with a projectile, so that is good. That's more of a like a delayed projectile, like the heavier version. So the good thing about him is you don't really have to worry about like losing fireball wars because he can like keep up in the fireball war if somebody's shooting a fireball with you like that. So that's kind of like a double recouping. So that's like really good projectile. He has very good jumping normals, and it's gonna be something that's gonna stand out with him. So like if your opponent like tries to like jump at you, you can just jump back over. Like it's very solid. Or just run under somebody, boom, run under, boom, like that. So Jubei on the ground, because he's gonna make you want to jump because of course his pokes are like really good, and that's just a strength of him. One thing I will say, he doesn't have like a traditional uppercut or anything to keep the opponent out of the air. So what you're going to want to do, like I showed, you're going to run under, or you're going to use his counter where he can get a lot of damage. Now, of course, that can be baited if your opponent jumps in, empties, and does nothing, but it is an option that you definitely need to keep in mind. And he has a lot of range, just in general, even with his universal overhead. Like, look at that. So if you're looking for just a character to like dominate the mid-range with like crazy buttons and good combo grab, Jubei is surely the character for you. Now Tam Tam is a very weird character because, I mean, look at him. You already know he's not gonna play traditional. However, something that is traditional is his footsie game because his far B is very good. His far C is another good poke, and his crouch C is like pretty ridiculous. And he has a very good anti-air in his crouch B, and he can also do that from 6-6B. So he can keep you out of the sky like if you're jumping a lot. Ukyo is not the best example because Ukyo is really floaty. But you just see the general use of that normal in general. It's gonna anti-air and keep people out of the sky. So he's good at keeping you out of the sky. He has a very unique projectile where literally it shoots up, and the hitbox, there is a hitbox going up, so like you can jump into that. Your opponent can jump into that. It's kind of used for like keep out, but very dangerous because if it whiffs, he can be punished. But he has a better projectile, which is his quarter circle projectile, which is unique because you can like keep doing the input, and you can do it like delayed too, and the projectiles will come out at whatever pattern you want. So you can do low, high, low, 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 whatever you want to do, you can do. The low is an actual low, by the way. So if you are like at this range and you're shooting some low projectiles and your opponent is standing up, they are going to get clipped like that. Like he actually has to block that low. So I would say his projectile game is pretty good, especially when you're altering like the timings and when you're altering the patterns. And he has a fake projectile, not as good as Haohmaru's though. And he does have a command grab. So if your opponent is sitting there waiting on normals or waiting on anything, he has the command grab threat. And he also, which is really cool, this character also has an instant overhead. So he has jump back C, hits instant overhead. Now it doesn't hit everybody in the game instant overhead to my knowledge. Some characters it does with like smaller hitboxes, but a lot of the casts he can actually hit with the overhead. So that's really good. Overhead, command grab, and just like, you know, keeping offense and keeping your opponent guessing on wake up is always a plus. And like I said, his neutral is pretty strong with his normals and anti-air game and his projectiles. So if you're looking for like a character that can kind of just play annoying at the mid-range with pretty good buttons, a good anti-air, and good projectiles, you might like Tam Tam. Hanzo is going to be another really dangerous ninja in the game. Hanzo's whole playstyle revolves around this projectile that the community calls Slinky, and I mean, look, it moves like a Slinky. This is gonna be the primary way you're gonna play Hanzo. He's like, I would say, like mostly a keep out character, but once he gets the Slinky on the screen, he can rush you down and make you guess between command grab, flow, cross up overhead, etc, etc. So he has a lot of options with Slinky, but he's a very straightforward character. You do a projectile, you run in, see how your opponent reacts, you mix them, you go for the overhead, you go for a low. You basically just mix your opponent based on the projectile being on the screen. When the projectile is not on the screen, he is not one of the strongest characters, but when that projectile is on the screen, he is one of the better characters. Now, the unique thing about him specifically is when he's in rage, his Slinky is ridiculous. As you see, look at the block stun. So that's the whole game plan. So Hanzo wants to go into rage and basically hit you with that Slinky, go for a mix up, and if it hits you, he actually gets a jump up combo per se. Like if this hits you, he can do that every single time. 300 damage, that is a lot of damage. And Slinky does a lot of guard chip. So you do not want to fight Rage Hanzo. Rage Hanzo is crazy. On top of this, character just has very good mobility with his teleports. He has teleports, which are like super powerful, that I think definitely make the character unique. Definitely make the character unique. So let's do this. Boom. And then he just floats and then he comes down. And same thing. Boom. It just comes down. Or you can fake it. So he's like a tricky character. You never know when he's actually going to teleport or when he faked it, and then he just runs, does Slinky, and gets his offense going. So if you're looking for a pretty simplistic character, just a simplistic runaway character that can get his offense going off of one projectile, Hanzo is a pretty good pick. Genjuro is another very solid, well-rounded character. The only difference is he has like a set play projectile in his arsenal, which would be his quarter circle back projectile. Now on hit, of course, you're like, okay, like that really doesn't do too much on hit. What it does is on block. So if your opponent is especially in the corner, it bounces off their block if you hold down the button, and when the fireball bounces down, it actually comes down as an overhead. So if your opponent is not blocking standing, they're gonna get hit. So you can create a lot of like crazy like situations with that hitting as an overhead and that timing, so you can play around with it to make your opponent like guess right or guess wrong, because like I said, you can go low if you want to, and then your opponent will have to, basically it would be very hard to block the overhead or the low, depending on the time that you throw it off. So his projectile is not used in fireball wars mostly. It's going to be used as like an Oki tool, because it'll bounce off of their block and come down as an overhead. So that's really good for him. And as you saw, he does have Rekkas. So that's generally how you're going to finish some of your combos. You're going to go into Rekkas. And the Rekka does pretty solid damage. Now he does have cross up Rekka as well, and you do have to block that as a cross up. The weakness to that is your opponent can jump out or backdash out, but if they're looking to block, they might not block this on time, then get hit by a full cross up. So his Rekka can be tricky depending on how your opponent knows how to deal with the Rekka pressure in general. He comes with an uppercut. So you are not going to be jumping at Genjuro that much because he does have an uppercut. You have to do it a little later. If you don't do it late, it can trade, especially if somebody jumps in with a really good jump in. But if you do it delayed, as you see, it will win every time. So he comes with an uppercut. Normals are like super good. Very good normals. Not super rewarding because you can't cancel them, but his stance is very good. Can keep you out of the air. Just a very clean neutral character. And if you sit there, he also comes with the command grab. So you basically with Genjuro want to corner your opponent with Rekka pressure, corner him, put him on the wall, and then just go for like mix-ups with your projectile on the screen. So this character, while he might have been nerfed, he's still a very solid pick. And as you saw at the SWC, this character did get second place. So do not sleep on Genjuro. So if you're just looking for like a solid character that has like a set play projectile, then Genjuro is a pretty good pick. Now, Earthquake is definitely going to be for my grappler players. Like if you like a grappler, of course he does come with a command grab. So Earthquake is definitely going to get up close and personal with the opponent and have them guessing with the command grab or his 6-6D. His 6-6D is definitely one of the best in the game because it hits like Omega Meaty, especially on somebody's wake up timing. And if they try to hold up, they're going to get clipped. And if they sit there, they're going to eat a command grab. So his Oki is like very, very good. On top of he does have an instant overhead. Like if you do instant jump down A, he'll just land on you, and like that's pretty much unreactable. Like you're not gonna react to that every single time. That's like really fast. So the fact that he has the instant overhead, a command grab, and a really good meaty low is gonna be a menace if he knocks you down. So you definitely want to avoid getting knocked down by this character, but this character also comes with some pretty decent normals. His normals have like a lot of range, especially his C normals, which are going to be the ones you're going to see a lot from Earthquake players, especially like neutral jump JC or like angled JC. Is going to be like super good. On top of off the recoil, he can just do like flame breath, because flame breath is like pretty good, pretty safe. And it can be used in like a lot of meaty setups as well. So Earthquake, he has a lot of like good tools, honestly. He's not the fastest character, of course, like he's very slow. But if he can get a knockdown, he can dish out a lot of damage. I'm gonna show you his far C. His far C is a very good poke because it hits from a very far distance. So his button alone are like super good. And against characters that do not have normals that can contest his, it's actually pretty hard to fight him. On top of he can just do jump back C if you start trying to approach him. And he comes with a wall jump, which is very interesting for a character of his size. So if you're looking for just kind of like a super good mid-range grappler character, Earthquake is a pretty good pick because you better not sit there. He gonna scoop you. So let's talk about Shiki. Now the first thing is gonna stand out outside of her having like the Psylocke skin on is that her far B is special cancel. So that's gonna be very strong, especially as a whip punish or as a punish in general. She's gonna be able to dish out a lot of damage just because her stand B is cancelable, far B and close B. Like, so it doesn't matter where you're at, she's gonna be able to get that combo. On top of her 6-6B also gives her the same combo. So combo wise, she's very strong. If you jump at her, she also is very strong because she has an uppercut. So she can keep you out of the sky, she can whip punish you on the ground, and she also comes with a little bit of mix. So she has this overhead special move that she can mix in with this grab if your opponent is standing. And it's like a hooligan. That's what I like basically compare it to. It's like a hooligan mix up. You either A, do the command grabbing overhead, or B, do the overhead. So you can duck the grab, but you cannot duck the overhead. So that's like where the mix up lies. So you can duck this, but you cannot duck this. So because she jumps, it'll generally make your opponent do something, which is very strong. Now Shiki also comes with a teleport. The teleport isn't the best teleport. It's there and you can use it off of like recoils and stuff, but you're not really going to be like teleporting too much. Generally speaking, you're really just going to be waiting for your opponent to make mistakes because she's very fast. Has a very good 6-6A. You're going to be waiting for your opponent to make mistakes. They make a mistake, you run in and do a combo, and then you sit on their wake up, see what they do, because like I said, she can just combo easily off of all of her B normals. So she has options if you like to sit there with the mix-ups, and she has options if your opponent is like whiffing and jumping and stuff. So she's naturally like just a solid fundamental character, honestly, with like mix-up potential. So if you're looking for like a character that's pretty simple yet effective. Shiki, she's a pretty solid character. Yoshitora, this character is an absolute nightmare to fight because he has one of the best jump attacks in the entire game, and it is super hard to deal with, especially if you are newer to the game. But even if you are a vet, it's going to be a hard move to deal with because you either have to stance break him, uppercut him. It's very hard to run under it, but you can also run under it and hit him on the same side. But it's just like really ridiculous air normal because of how many times it hits. So it's like very hard to stop him from like just running at you and then jumping, and you having to always look out for that jump. So that's one of the strongest things about him, and that's generally, if you ever look at Yoshitora gameplay, you're going to see him jumping a lot because that's how he's going to get a lot of his offense going. Now on the ground, he has like a lot of moves, but I'm going to show you the unique thing about Yoshitora and the thing that might make you want to play him. So as you see, he has 7 swords, but to unlock the actual 7th sword, you have to do 6 of his special moves, and then you unlock a new move once you've done all 6 of his special moves. So I will show this. He has a quarter circle forward special move, quarter circle back, put you in the washing machine. Then he has an uppercut, a forward uppercut. Then he has a backwards uppercut. Then he has a command grab. And then he has like this tiger kneed overhead that if you cancel his universal overhead and do quarter circle forward, he'll do this really, really low overhead to the ground. Then once you've done all 6 of his moves, you unlock a new move, which is this ridiculous projectile that goes full screen and does a large chunk of your life bar. So that is the nature of how you want to play the character. You want to try to rotate all of his moves, and once you do all of his moves, you unlock that move. It also unlocks if you hit his SSM. If you hit his SSM, you also will unlock that projectile to use for the rest of the round. It does go away at the end of the round, so using all of his moves, you kind of want to utilize it early on so you have that projectile to try to close out the match. Other than that, Yoshitora basically only just jumps around the screen and tries to get damage. That he's not really like a footsie based character at all. He has some, you know, some solid pokes, like solid low sweep right there that's very hard to punish for some of the casts. So he has some tools going on the ground, but mostly you're going to want to use some of his guard points on his uppercut backwards move, and then you're going to be wanting to jump in with this move a lot, because this move is super goated. So if you're looking to play a character where you can jump almost freely and do a lot of damage and unlock some pretty cool moves at the end, Yoshitora, he's a good pick. Charlotte is going to be your mid-range footsie monster. Like, all of her pokes are really good. Her stand A, crouch A, stand B, and crouch B are like super range. So she's going to be able to keep the opponent out and keep them at this comfortable range so she can win the match. Now, of course, you can deflect in this game, so if your opponent tries to deflect your normals, you could potentially lose. That is why you're going to want to throw in a lot of delays in Charlotte's pressure. So you want to poke, wait, see that deflect, and get a good punish. So throwing off your timings with her button presses are like key, and she also comes with a really good jump in. She has the jump in cross up. So the jump in cross up is very, very good. Her jump in B is really good because, as you see, she jumps really low to the ground. So she's able to like jump in at ranges where it's going to be like really hard for you to anti-air because her jump is so low. So she's very hard to keep out of the air in general. And then if you do jump at her, guess what? She also comes with an uppercut. So she comes with a traditional uppercut. The thing about her uppercut, it goes straight in the air. So it does not arc forward at all. So you really have to know your spacing and your timing for her uppercut. You always kind of want to be in a good range, like a range like that. Because if you are not and you're far out, you can potentially whip it if your opponent does not extend their actual hitbox. But she is very good at keeping you out of the air. She has a solid projectile that she can charge and kind of throw off the timing if your opponent likes to jump it. So projectile game is pretty solid. anti-air game is good. She has good jump back normals, but above her head she cannot hit. That's one thing about her jump, is she cannot hit above her head. So characters that do double jump kind of give her a little bit of troubles. But other than that, I think Charlotte is like the perfect pick for somebody that's just looking for like a very simple and basic footsie based character that can make their opponent make a lot of mistakes. So Darli is gonna come with really good jumping. Like her jump B is really good and her jump C is like super good. And having good jump ins in this game is everything. So the fact that she has really good jumping, good angle jump ins, and a good cross up is very strong in this game. Far B is also good because it goes straight into a special move, and having a cancelable B normal is, as you have already saw in this video, is very strong, and she comes coupled with a stand B into a special move for solid damage. If your opponent opts to block on wake up, she also has a command grab, which is very strong as well. And one of her special moves I'm about to talk about is kind of crazy if you can read your opponent's roll and you can time it right, and this will be her wave attack. This move can actually cross up your opponent on wake up. So all of those hits, some of those hits cross you up. And if you do not know how to block the right way, or you guess wrong and you start rolling into her and just guessing wrong, she can kind of steamroll matches. But if you wake up and you block, trying to block the cross up, she can just command grab you. That's why you would not want to be rolling into Darli a lot. You would kind of like want to mix up your rolls, because if you start rolling very predictable, this character can get a lot of damage on you off of that cross up. So if you're looking for a character that can like keep you guessing on wake up, Darli is a pretty strong character. Wu is gonna be your set play zoner character. Now she's usually considered on the lower tier side, but she has a lot of explosive situations. Specifically her trap, because that's going to be how you're going to get most of your damage. If she puts a trap on your feet, she can actually combo off of it. As you see, 252 right there, 660, 263, and also she can combo into her SSM, which is very unique because a lot of characters cannot combo into their SSM. And as you see, 815, that is a lot of damage for an SSM. So the base game plan of Wu is going to be putting a trap and kind of just sitting behind it and chilling and waiting for your opponent to make a mistake or run into the trap. Because she also comes with projectile, low projectile, ice, mid, and high. So she can read the opponent and kind of like see what they're doing, react accordingly, shoot a projectile, and try to, you know, read the situation that's happening. Because if you have a trap, you might want to shoot the high ice because your opponent might jump. But the whole concept of Wu is to get a life lead and kind of sit on it. Because if she gets a life lead against certain characters, she can sit on it. It's going to really depend on the matchup though. Because in every matchup, she's not going to be able to sit over here because your opponent might have like a projectile counter or something of that nature, like a Nakoruru. So you won't want to throw too many projectiles. You'll want to put trap out, run behind the trap, put another trap. You can knock the opponent into the trap and do a lot of damage. So Wu, I would say, is one of those type of characters where you're going to have to play very patient, and some rounds are just not going to go in your favor. But you're going to have to kind of believe in the process, play solid, play slow, get your damage, get your throw. And then she does a lot of damage off of link combos, as you've seen. Because her normals are not that great, but they're okay. And then she has a crouch C that's pretty good, because from max range it's pretty safe. So Wu is like just a set play zoner that you have to play perfect with. You have to play very perfect with her. She has a lot of setups and a lot of things to figure out, but you do have to play perfect with her because in some of her matchups she's just not able to do this same game plan, and you have to play a lot more aggressive, and she's not the best at playing aggressive. So if you're looking for like a set play character that has a lot of tricky little setups, Wu is a pretty good pick. So Rimururu, just like her sister Nakoruru, is a very annoying, pesky character that can, you know, play the hit and run game. But unique to Rimururu, she's more of an actual set play character. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to get to the special move that we all know about, which is the iceberg. Like, you can sit on the iceberg and stall. So if she has life lead, it becomes very hard to like catch her and keep up, because that iceberg does proxy, and it does have a hitbox falling down. So when she has life lead and you have to chase her, it is pretty annoying to chase her because she has a lot of options. Also a wall jump, and then she has an active JD. It's active all the way down. So if you're familiar with Grand Blue, those type of normals in the air, she has one of those. So stalling is what she is good at, and just kind of like playing a lame game when she does get a life lead. But she has a lot of good aggressive attacks. Her 668 is also one of the best in the game, because hers is like, I believe, a frame slower than her sister's. So it's 5 frames. She can run in, get a lot of damage. And then she has all of these ice projectiles that when you know how your opponent is going to roll, you can set play your opponent and do a lot of like tricky cross ups, universal overhead, stuff like that, especially in the corner. Like, you see, I just got a whole cross up. She can even get an SSM if you want to. Like, that comboed, and Warden is dead now. So, as you see, like, the set play aspect of her is very dangerous. So, if the opponent does not roll right or they roll wrong and you run past them and cross them up or anything of that nature, she is pretty dangerous. But also, to note, she can actually do her ice platform off a backdash, which is pretty cool because you can cover rolls like that, and you can just jump off of the ice platform and come down with a button. That's really cool. So she has a lot of unique like tool set. Like, her tool set is really unique. She can even reflect projectiles with this move right here, and nobody can jump at her because, for one, she has this special move and she has her quarter circle back. So she can control the sky very well, control the ground very well with all of her projectiles. She's fast and she can stall. She's a really, really good character, honestly. And her set play is very devastating when you master it. So if you're looking for a character that can run away and play some really, really good set play setups when you wake up, Rimururu, she's the pick. Now, Basara is going to be one of the weirdest characters in the game entirely. He's going to be one of those characters, if you just like to play weird characters that have like unique tools, he might be the character for you off jump. Because for one, his dash is like a teleport, and he actually has fake clones that can like throw off movement. Now, the camera does not move when he does these clones. So that is a visual for especially like more experienced players, that he actually did not move, because you see when I jump, the camera actually moves. But when you do that, the camera doesn't move. So it's kind of like a throw off a little bit, but it can still be used. It can still be used. And he has a command grab, so when he is doing all this tricky movement, he can just kind of like scoop in and get you with a command grab. His normals are actually pretty good. His stand B and his crouch B are pretty solid normals, and they do a lot of guard chip. So if you want to try to like guard break your opponent, he has pretty good guard break potential, I would say. So if you're looking for a character that could kind of like guard break the opponent, he's definitely a good pick. His normals are very unique because a lot of them don't have recoil. So like this normal right here, no recoil. That, no recoil. That, no recoil. That, no recoil. Just because they don't have recoil does not mean they're not punishable, because some characters will be able to punish him. But the fact that he has no recoil can also work out in his favor. It's not always just a negative. Then he can go into like a puddle. Kind of reminds me of like Zato a little bit. And then he has his homing projectile. Now, homing projectile is like the basis of his gameplay, because the homing projectile, and then he kind of runs in and he can get his offense. Now, that projectile, I'm going to show you on hit what it looks like. Doesn't do that much damage, but it's the fact that he gets to kind of like control the neutral, kind of get in, and then put you in a situation. So, this character is like really, really unique, I will say. Like, he has a lot of like trickiness going on, and his normals are, like I said, pretty solid. So if you're looking for a character that's kind of like on the weirder end, and by weird I mean he just has these really unique tools that I have not seen a fighting game character have, then Basara is a pretty good pick. Kazuki is a very, very solid character. I do not believe he just excels at one part of the game. I think he just excels at everything. He has very good anti-airs. He has very solid neutral, very good buttons, and his stand B and crouch B, they're really, really good. If somebody jumps at him, he can keep you out the air with his uppercut attack. He has a projectile, so he can control space very well. He has a power-up special move where this orb kind of gets enhanced, and then it gives him more combo ability. So his damage output is very high because of this orb as well. Like, I'll show you like a little combo in the corner. So that was a pretty practical combo that he does get in the corner a lot of times. So as you saw, 353, really good. And then he gets to put another orb on him. So his ability to do damage is very, very high. On top of, I didn't even talk about the fact that his crouch C is definitely one of the best crouch Cs in the game. Because even if you jump over his head, he can still catch you from behind. And then you just land right back in front of him. So while he might not have the best A normals at all, they are not deflectable because he does not use his weapon. But he has some very, very, very solid B normals. And as you see, he'll get a running C attack after that. So he has a lot of combo potential. But just a solid character in general. So large damage, cannot jump at him, solid pokes. Like, he really just doesn't have a weakness outside of, he's a little stubby outside of the, you know, the A normals. But if you're just looking for a fundamental character that actually has combos and actually has damage and your opponent cannot jump, Kazuki is perfect. Wan-Fu is another character that is very unique in the sense that he relies heavily on throwing his weapon at the opponent and then going for offense based off of that. So this special move is the move you're going to see a lot. Then he can just pick up his weapon and rinse repeat. When he does toss his weapon, it's like mad plus, so he does get plus frames off of that. And it can cross you up like that. So he can have like a lot of like setups based on where your opponent is at and trying to like cross up your opponent or land in front or throw it for plus frames, etc., etc. But that makes him unique because when he's unarmed, he actually gets access to a command grab. So now that he doesn't have his weapon, he can actually command grab. And that creates like a situation where you can knock your opponent down, not have your weapon, keep knocking them down, keep knocking them down. They're afraid of the command grab, and then when they block, scoops, pick up your weapon again. And that's basically how you play Wan-Fu. You throw your weapon at somebody, and then you see how they deal with him not having his weapon. But that's also a weakness because when he doesn't have his weapon, he does lose range. Because as you see, far B and crouch B, you will no longer have those normals. And those are really good normals, and he has a very good special cancel when he's up close. So if you want to play a character that can lose their weapon but have access to a pretty strong command grab, Wan-Fu would be your choice because his cross-ups and his plus frames are good, but they're just risky because you are losing your weapon in a game focused on weapons. Shizumaru as a base character is a pretty simple and straightforward character with like a pretty good projectile that he can throw. It doesn't necessarily go full screen, but it still controls that full screen presence. And then he has this special for like chip damage and such. But one of the most unique things about him is he can float. with his umbrella, right? And that means that he can come down with damage, combos, etc., etc. He can come down with a cross up. He can also like float back if he steers it backwards. So that's pretty good for his air mobility, and just the fact that it's hard to like know when he's actually gonna jump in on you or when he's actually going to go for a float. And it's pretty unique. And also out of his backdash, he can also do that. So he can do an instant overhead out of his backdash because he can cancel his backdash into float. So pretty unique to the character, honestly. His normals are like okay, like his far B not cancelable, so you're not really gonna get anything off of that. But up close, of course, you can get a good combo. But far wise, he's not really gonna have like crazy pokes. His far C is pretty decent because he does step forward a bit. But the part about Shizu that makes him good is one of his special moves that I'm about to get into. But to note, he does have a pretty solid uppercut if people jump at him, because he does lunge forward a little bit on his uppercut before he actually uppercuts you. But now to the special move that makes the character. Now the special move that's going to make this character is going to be the tap special move, where he can hold a button. So like right now I'm holding light, right? And if you release it, he'll do this attack. Cool thing about this is while you're fighting with Shizu, you want to hold down a button, and it has to be a slash button, so it has to be light, medium, or fierce, basically A, B, or C. You have to hold that button. The longer you hold it, the more damage that it can do. So there's different levels to it. I think it goes all the way up to a level 5 charge. So while you're fighting, while you're doing things, you need to be holding a button down. Now you can hold any button. Like right now I switched over to heavy. Now I'm holding heavy. I was holding light. Now I'm back to holding the light. And if you let it go, so I'm going to show you like this, it did a massive amount of damage. So that is how you're going to be playing with Shizu. You're going to want to hold the button down and still be able to fight. And if you're able to do that, then at any moment you can burst your opponent down with a lot of damage. If they make a huge mistake, they could lose a lot of their life. And that also makes him a little more advanced, because you do have to hold the button. You have to switch, because if you're just holding light, you're giving up deflect. You cannot deflect. But if you're holding heavy, now you can deflect. But every time you're holding something different, you're kind of giving up something. So being able to switch between what button you are pressing is very important. And the easiest way to do that is either A, when you press a button, switch over, or when you backdash, just switch over and hold a different button. So if you want to play a character that can charge a very devastating attack, then Shizumaru, he's going to be the character for you. So Mina is going to be your zoning character that comes with a lot of good zoning tools. On top of, she comes with a reflect, which is pretty unique to a zoner. She can just send a projectile right back in a fast fashion, but she has projectiles of her own which are really good. Like a fully charged arrow can do 300, but you can let this arrow go at any time, so it'll throw off your opponent's JDs. If they're really good at JD and projectiles, they might not be good at JD and hers, because she can let the projectile go at any moment. And she can also cancel the animation, which is really good, because if your opponent basically reacts a certain type of way, you can charge it a little bit, charge it all the way, and then just put it back in your pocket and do nothing. If you jump at her, she also does come with the anti-air. Her DP special is like super good for anti-airing the opponent. Now if they jump deeper with her normal, she can get stuff, so you have to be very careful of that. But she has the option to keep you out the sky. On top of her jumping normal is like really good. Her jump C, like super good. And her stand B is a very good special cancel. She also comes with an angle arrow, so if you feel like the opponent might jump, that's always an option. So that's really good. So I would say if you're looking for like a really good zoner that has pretty good options and good buttons, Mina is the perfect pick. Sogetsu is going to be strictly a set play character. This character set play is pretty ridiculous because he has a bubble that he can freely control when it's on the screen, and then go from there and start operating on his mix-up game. Now, cool thing about him, like let's say I get a throw, boom, boom, then I put the orb out, I can knock you into the orb, and then I can just combo. So that is really good about Sogetsu. He gets around rolls way better than a lot of characters because no matter what, like if you get a combo, you can always just read the roll with bubble, and then you can put it on yourself. You can put it behind, like right outside the opponent, so you hit him, and then you can combo into it, etc., etc. So you can get pretty creative with him. On top of, he has a very good anti-air because water pillar is an anti-air. So if you're fighting a character, as long as they jump inside of your range, like right here would be the perfect range for him to anti-air a character like Iroha. Like he can just anti-air her right here, boom, she cannot jump. That water pillar is gonna like go all the way to the top of the screen. On top of that, if they're outside of range, you can just run under them, right? His crouch C is like ridiculous range, so his crouch C is really good. His far B is really good range. His 6-6B is overhead. He has a lot of good tools. On top of this move, will wall bounce you, and then you can just read the roll with the bubble. So the whole game of Sogetsu is basically knocking the opponent down, putting the bubble out, and basically going for a mix-up. He does come with teleports as well, which are also good for catching rolls because it can mix your opponent up, because you can literally teleport in front of their roll or behind their roll, so you can kind of like mix the opponent's wake up timing up, which is really good. So if you're looking for just like a strict fun set play character, Sogetsu, he's kind of nice. Now, Iroha is definitely like the most unique character in the game because she does not have a run. As you see, she hops. And like with her being able to hop instead of run, she cannot punish certain things that another character can because they can move around the screen a lot faster than her. They can run up and get a punish, and she comes with no dash attacks. So when she dashes, she's in a full animation. She cannot cancel that dash with a button. Now, that also means that she has a lot of unique things about her because she can actually hop over throws and like low projectiles and stuff like that. But she's a zoning character. Like she's a character that's gonna control a lot of space. She has angle projectiles, tiger knee projectiles. She can cancel her overhead into a projectile. Like she has a lot of unique angles on the projectile to kind of like read the opponent's movement. On top of when she's close, she has like a instant overhead. Like this move can actually cross up. Tam Tam is kind of big, but on a character a little smaller, she can actually cross up with that overhead, and that can be tricky on wake up. And then when the opponent respects you and they sit there, you just go into a combo. So it's very unique to her. The fact that she can just control the whole screen is powerful, but JD does exist, so her zoning isn't too strong, so she is gonna have to make moves and get in, and her normals are pretty solid. Her stand B and crouch B are solid, and her stand C is really good for a heavy button whip because she just lunges in with a lot of damage. So that is a good thing about her. And also she does come with an uppercut, so if somebody jumps at you, she can uppercut. Tam Tam is very floaty, so you gotta kind of like do the uppercut a little later like that to get all the hits. But she can keep you out of the sky, which is good, and she has a double jump. So just like Yashamaru, like she can double jump as well. Her double jump is actually better than his because not only does she have like better options in the air, but her JC is just ridiculous. And if she hits you, she has pretty good combo routes as well because her close B hits twice, and then you can just go into her Beyblade special move. Her shoulder is very good also to note because you cannot burst it because it launches you. So shoulder into like weapon flip or shoulder into even like the uppercut combo I just did is like super good because your opponent cannot burst. So if you're looking for a character that has like Omega zoning but also a little bit of mix up close, Iroha is going to be a character you will be interested in. So Warden was the For Honor guest character, and this character is all about the buttons. He really doesn't have many special moves, literally only has 2. He has shoulder charge, which isn't the greatest special move, and then he has his counter, which is a lot better because it counters projectiles, and it counters hits if your opponent like opts to like jump in on you. And then he gets a full juggle combo. So his counter is a lot better than his other special move, but he's mostly based on buttons. All of his normals are pretty like solid, especially if you get hit by like something like a far C. But the unique thing about his normals is if you press them multiple times, he will end up doing a overhead that is highly unsafe when blocked, or you can feint it if you press the B button. And then as you see, he will feint it. And when he feints it, he's plus. So that is the cool thing about Warden. He can kind of keep offense going and keep you guessing, because if you always think that he's going to like feint it at the end and you try to do something and then he finishes it, you're going to get hit. So that's unique to him, because no other character can do that. His jump attacks are really good. Jump B, jump C, like ridiculous normals. So when you see this character, generally speaking, you're only gonna see like buttons. You're gonna see like buttons and him waiting to whiff punish you, because there's really nothing more to him because he doesn't have any special moves. So if you're just looking to play a character with big buttons and like feint normals, then Warden, he's gonna be your man. Now Gongsun Li, aka GSL, is going to be a unique character because she fights very well with and without her weapon. With her weapon, she has very good range, like her far B, her crouch B is special cancelable. You can just teleport right back to the umbrella. Her far C is like ridiculous range as well. And then she comes with, when she doesn't have her weapon, she has her 66A, which is gonna hard knock you down and has a lot of reach and can be special canceled, so you can go right back to your umbrella off of that as well. And then her crouch C gets a lot better because it goes into a combo into her projectile. And her projectile is one of the better projectiles in the game because of the speed of it and the damage once she has all her maple charges. So she can basically keep you out and kind of zone you with this projectile, which is very strong. Even her universal overhead has like a lot of reach. So when she doesn't have her weapon, she's not in a losing battle like some characters. Because when she doesn't have hers, like I said, she can just always get it back because a lot of her normals become special cancelable. On top of, she has one of the best anti-airs in the entire game. So if you are fighting somebody like a Yoshitora and he's annoying, you can actually just do quarter circle back C. And it has full air invul. So if somebody jumps at you, she's gonna eliminate all jumps in the game. That's one of the best things about her. She struggles more against double jump characters versus a character that cannot like alter their jump. So if you cannot alter your jump, she is going to do a great job at keeping you out of the air. On top of, like I said, her normals are so good that it's gonna make somebody want to jump. And when they do jump, she's gonna be able to stop them. Now, the thing about her is she cannot SSM you with her umbrella. She has to not have her umbrella to do her SSM, which is very, very unique. And what I will say about this, it's a huge weakness to her. It's a very, very big weakness to her, because if you do dodge like a throw, you're not going to be able to do a SSM punish. You would have to have your weapon flip to do massive amount of damage. Other than that, I would say she has a lot of strengths, and she just has a lot of like really, really good tools, because the umbrella is just hard to deal with when she tosses it at you, because it's also harder to JD, because when she's zoning you, the timing of her zoning you with this projectile versus the timing of her throwing her umbrella is different. On top of, she can just teleport to it, and she recovers almost instantly. The only time she has a lot of recovery is if the umbrella is actually off the screen, and then she teleports and has to get it back. That's like one of the main weaknesses of her. Like if the umbrella is actually off the screen, her teleporting back to it is a huge risk, because she's probably gonna get hit. So if you're looking for a pretty good, like I would say mid-range to zoning based character that can actually fight without her weapon, Gongsun Li is the perfect pick. Alright, so Cham Cham is going to be a very unique character because she's not used at all like that. And she has some unique special moves, especially going with her boomerang. Her boomerang is very good, like mid-range projectile. The heavy version is like, it hurts and it knocks down, but it's very, very risky to do just because of the recovery. So if somebody does jump or something, like, you're in a lot of trouble. She does have anti-air boomerang as well, which is more preemptive of anything because you're not really reacting to somebody jumping and throwing it unless they have a super floaty jump like a Tam Tam or like a Ukyo or somebody like that. Then you could just anti-air it on reaction with the boomerang, but those like faster jumps, you're not going to be able to do that. 66D is like really, really good. Her slide is like really active and it's super safe at like max range, so that's a very good button to throw out. Her normals are not like crazy, but her cause see, her crouch B doesn't even combo into her special move like from max range, but it does a little closer. Now the thing about Cham Cham, she definitely comes with like goofy mix-ups, like her demon flip. She has a demon flip variation where she can demon flip throw you, she can demon flip overhead you, or she can demon flip low you. Now the problem with this, all of this is super gimmicky because you can spot dodge all of it and delete her, but she can just do it and do nothing, and then if you spot dodge, she could go for like a punish. So that's really good. So I think fake demon flip, just doing it and doing nothing is better. On top of, she gets pretty good Oki on you because if she knocks you down, you can just demon flip over to your opponent and then stay on their way good. On top of, she has A normals that are not deflectable. They don't recoil or anything. So her A normals are like really, really good up close. So I think all in all, if you're looking for like just a tricky character, then Cham Cham is going to be a very interesting pick. And I would actually like to see more people pick her because nobody really plays her. Alright, so let's talk about Hibiki. Hibiki is one of the strongest neutral characters in the entire game. Simply because this character, her 236 slash is one of the best special moves in the game. Why? Because it has a lot of reach and it is actually 8 frames. Yes, you heard it correct, 8 frames. It is super fast. It can punish things like Baiken's crouch B on block at majority of the ranges, and then she has a slower slash that is -5 on block, so she just isn't taking too many risks outside of the opponent jumping these slashes, because light slash is on block is unsafe, but this version is actually safe on block. It is -5 pushback. It's nothing you can do about it, because if you know anything about special moves, you cannot deflect these slashes, so it's nothing you can do outside of like try to jump or space, make her whiff, and then punish the whiff. With that being said, her weakness is like she doesn't have the best anti-airs at all. She has to rely on close slash, so if Baiken jumps with this big juicy normal, as you see, that's a trade. So you have to like walk under or dash under a person to try to get to the other side and hit them, or go air to air. So she doesn't really have a traditional anti-air, but she does have this counter that can work and serve as an anti-air, and if you do have weapon flip, it can go into weapon flip. So what I would say with Hibiki, her normals are really solid too, easily cancel. Her dash attack is really good as well. She just has a lot of good tools, and if you're just looking for a solid character that has like very, very, very strong tools, I would say Hibiki would definitely be the character pick for you. Amakusa is going to be a high-low set play zoning character. He has very, very long range pokes, so you're going to have to alter which pokes you use at certain ranges, because his moves do have blind spots, meaning that if you use a move at the incorrect range, your opponent can just run up and hit you. So a lot of his moves have like blind spots, so you have to pick and choose the correct button to use. He has a very floaty jump, but he has some pretty good jumping normals, but very floaty jump. So if you don't like a floaty jumping character, it's probably not the character for you. But if you like characters that can keep out with really good buttons and pokes, then he's going to be a solid pick. Now, like before, I said he's set play. So he has a high-low mix-up, and I will show that. So I'm going to make my opponent crouch. This is an overhead attack. This attack right here is an overhead. He has a longer ranged version, like that, and then he has an actual low. So if my opponent stands up, That is a low. That little crescent on the ground, that is a low. And it has very good reach. So he can basically set play you off of these moves, and after he hits you, backdash, light fireball, and then you can run and do another mix-up or read how your opponent moves. And that's basically the base of how Amakusa plays. It's literally you get a knockdown with like an overhead, you do backdash, slow fireball, and then you run in and you try to mix them again with a potential another overhead or a low, or you wait to see if they jump at you, and then he can anti-air with his stand B, which has a lot of range. So if I'm right here, I can see my opponent jump, boom, I can hit him. Or I see my opponent jump, boom, I can hit him. So he's a very reactionary character that once he gets the knockdown, he can actually just like loop you with offense. And that's kind of what you're going to want to do with him. Play clean neutral and then knock your opponent down and set play them. So if you're looking for like a set play zoner, hey, Amakusa, good choice. Last but not least, Guilty Gear's own Baiken. Now, Baiken is considered arguably the best character in the game for multiple reasons, but I won't go into too many of those reasons today, but I will show you what she is capable of. So she's gonna come with a crouch B that literally has no recoil, and it is not deflectable. Your opponent, when this button is spaced, your opponent actually has 0 options. They would have to make this whiff or have a special move like Hibiki that I showed earlier that actually can reversal punish this. If you do not have that type of special move, she's pretty free to press this button and pester you from this range. But that's not all. She has one of the longest ranged universal overheads in the game, so she can hit you from very far, and it's pretty low minus. So at a tip range, not every character is going to be able to punish or even get a good punish. So the spacing on her normals is already messed up alone. On top of she has a crouch C that goes mid screen. Her crouch C has ridiculous range, and it is also unsafe, but every character is not going to get somewhat of a good punish. So it just depends on the character that you are playing. Now, when it comes to anti-airs, guess what? She also retains her 6P from Guilty Gear. So she has a 6P that does have air invul frame. So you are able to anti-air with this pretty comfortably. And she can go air to air and get a good juggle combo out of her air to air. On top of, she just really does really good damage in general and has all of her basic Guilty Gear tools already in her disposal. It just makes her an overall threat in this game, especially because she is playing by rules that were not seen until Baiken, especially with her 6-6A. Most 6-6As are like hella minus, which would be like a minus 19 or something around that nature, and hers is a lot less minus, around like minus 12, because it acts as if it's a medium instead of like a heavy. So Baiken's tool set overall, if you're looking for a character that can do everything, then Baiken's going to be the pick. Especially because she is one of the top tiers, and the noted weakness about her is her short range on her SSM. It goes nowhere. But for that to be one of her only weaknesses, it's not too bad. So I would say if you are looking for a well-rounded character that is also one of the strongest characters in the game, Baiken is gonna be a good choice. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this pick your main video. Until next time, peeps, peace.